Hello everyone, Denise here. Today we're going to make this hot pad or trivet. Let's get started. So the materials we will need, you can use wool or cotton. I chose wool. I am going to double this yarn. It is Lion brand Fisherman's wool. It is a worsted weight 4, and this has more than enough in there. There's 465 yards in this, but we only need a little bit. I am going to double this up, so I'm going to do 2 strands at a time using a J-hook. And then you will need some scissors and you will need something to weave in your ends. So let's get started. So to begin this hot pad or trivet, I am going to start with a slip knot. And you can do a magic circle or loop if you wish. I'm going to start with a slip knot. And then I am going to chain 4. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain, making this ring. We are going to work our stitches into the ring. Now each chain 2 that you start with at each round does not count as a stitch. And I am going to proceed to put 10 double crochets into this ring. So at the end of our round 1, we will have 10 double crochets into our ring. And I will meet up with you when we have our 10 double crochets. So we have our 10 double crochets. We are going to cinch up our circle a bit. We are going to skip this first chain 2, and we are going to slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet stitch. So for round 2, we are going to, if you've watched my hat tutorials or this last tutorial that I just did on the market bag, we're going to have the same method of increasing. In this first chain 2 space, we're going to put 2 double crochets. And in each stitch all the way around, we are going to increase 2 double crochets in each stitch. And I'll meet up with you at the end of round 2. So at the end of round 2, we have our 20 stitches. We are going to skip this first chain 2 that we started with, and we are going to slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet of the round. So for round 3, we are going to increase again the same way that we did round 2. So for round 3, we're going to chain 2 and put 2 double crochets in that same stitch as our chain 2 space. Then in the next space, we are going to do 1 double crochet, and then in the next space, we're going to do 2 double crochets. In the next space, we will do 1 double crochet. In the next space, we will do 2 double crochets. We're going to increase that all the way around. And at the end of round 3, we will have 30 double crochets. So once we get all the way around here, I will meet up with you at the end. So we are at the end of round 3, and we have 30 double crochets. We are starting round 4. Round 4, we are going to again skip this chain 2, go into the top of our first double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2 and put 2 double crochets in that very first same stitch as our chain 2. Then we will put 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and 2 double crochets in the next stitch. And that will be our repeat for this round. And we are going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet up with you at the end of round 4. At the end of round 4, we have 40 stitches, and we are going to join the same way that we have been doing. And for round 5, we are going to increase again. So we're going to slip stitch to the top of our first double crochet. We're going to chain 2 and put 2 double crochet in that same space as our chain 2. For round 5's repeat, we are going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. That will be a repeat. So we will do 1 double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, and 2 double crochets in the next. And that will increase our stitches again, and at the end of round 5 we will have 50 stitches. So I will meet up with you once we get around. So now moving on to round 6, we are going to increase one more time for round 6, and this is our last round. So we are going to slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet stitch, and we are going to chain 2, and then we are going to put 2 double crochets in that same chain 2 space. And now our repeat is going to be 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, another double crochet in the next stitch, and then 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So then we have 4 singles and then 2 double crochets. So we are going to do this all the way around for our final round 6, and I will meet up with you at the end of round 6. We will have 60 stitches. So at the end of round 6, we have 60 stitches. I'm going to go ahead and measure the diameter of our circle. The previous trivet or hot pad that I made, I ended up felting, which is totally recommended here. This is 8 inches, so after felting, you end up with about 7 inches for a hot pad. I will go ahead and bring in the one that I did felt so that you can see the difference between the two. This is felted. All you do to felt is to throw it in the wash with hot water and some soap. If you're washing towels, go ahead, throw it in with that. The felting will work on its own, and it will do its thing, and it will shrink a bit and become sort of a fabric. So it ends up being in diameter about 7 inches, which is a great size for underneath of a pot or anything hot that you have cooked. It will keep it from hitting on your table. Now, if you want to hang this on your wall, I thought a little hoop would be a good idea. So if you want to have a hoop, go ahead and slip stitch to the top of the first double crochet. And then what I did was I chained 6, and I think that is a big enough loop to go around, say, a push pin or a small nail on your kitchen wall. And then go ahead and slip stitch into the beginning of where you started chaining. And then you would cut your yarn off and you would be finished. And as you felted, that would felt also and become a little smaller. Now, the other thing that you can do for this project, and this is what I do for my husband, which I have mentioned before, I use the same method of increasing a circle for nest pads for his homing or racing pigeons, and it fits perfectly down in these bowls that we get from the Dollar Tree. And then they have something nice and warm to nest in, and they really love it, and he loves that I make them for him. So you could do that as well if you have birds or know someone who has birds. You can make this any size to be the bottom of a nesting pad for them. But for the hot pad or trivet, which is why I did this tutorial, go ahead and make your loop if you need one, and go ahead, throw it in the washer with some hot water and some towels and some soap, and it will felt up and be smaller just like this, and it will be perfect in your kitchen. As I said, you could do cotton as well, but cotton does not felt, so the choice is totally up to you. And yeah, I really enjoy using these. I have some square ones that I use in my kitchen. So that is the tutorial for this hot pad and or trivet. You can also use this as a nest pad, like I said. I would not recommend using acrylic yarn for this project since acrylic has a tendency to melt when it's around high heat or high temperatures. I would recommend making these out of the wool. When I use 2 skeins of the yarn, I can get 12 to 13 of these out of that. So that is possibly an idea for you guys that set up for craft shows, that you could sell these. You could get about 13 out of 2 skeins of yarn. And you could also give these as gifts as well for the holidays if you want to get a jump start on that. I know we're all looking for ideas to make in the summer when it is too warm to think about making hats and blankets. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and thank you for watching, and until next time guys, bye.